All right, good evening, everybody. Good evening, everybody. How are you guys doing in the class this afternoon or this evening, according to where you are in the world, actually? Um, so we have a few things we want to talk about, and once you're already here, you just need to do the usual. Anne Marie Warner is already in. Matter of fact, Anne Marie says that she was first in class and waiting since 1611. Listen, there's a mix up with this time. This time, apparently, um, YouTube is set on Pacific Standard Time. We are on Atlantic Standard, some are in Eastern Standard. So when you make these uploads, apparently, when you set these things, they go with basically where their platform is located. So that's the problem, really. So I'm very sorry for those of you who were there at 5:30 waiting. Class actually begins at 6:30. I think by now all of you would have known that. But let's say good evening to Sadiq. Good evening to Gaming. Yeah, Empress Saiha. I hope I'm calling that correctly. I don't know. Some of you guys need to get some more simple names. Slimmer 51 already in class. Empress is from Saint Eustatius. Saint Eustatius would be one of those Dutch islands. I understand somebody is saying that they're not hearing me now. I don't know. I don't know. Well, the microphone is working. It is working on our end, so I don't know. So they're not hearing. I'm not sure what's going on there with that individual. Let me just check and see and make sure. I don't know. Everything seemed set from my end. I understand somebody's. Okay, so we're good to go. Check your phone. Check your phone. All right, so let me say good evening to Slimy. Slimy, what's happening up there in New York? What's the latest with the gas prices in New York? Let me know what's happening up there with that. R. Charles says good evening, everyone. You made it on time. Yes, you're very early this time around for the classes, and we're happy to have you on board as always. Carib View 101 says, good evening and present, please. Yep, we're marking register early, as always. Lindin Hector says, good night, everyone. So, top of the evening, night, wherever you are, which part of the world. All right. Also saying good evening from Barbados. That's Tiffany Jones from Barbados in the house. Debbie Bond says good evening from New Jersey. So somebody's from New Jersey in the house as well. Um, we'll keep going down with the mark, the register first. Sharon 6280, greetings from Barbados. Um, yep, correct. Let's go to Sabrina. Sabrina says, hearing you loud and clear. Present, please. Okay. Then we have Gail Jarvis in the house. Slimy says Trump capitulated to Iran. Wow. That's big news around the world, man. And then we have Chad Alexander, 3617. Chad is in the house. Slimy says Iran won the war. Okay. And then Michael Woodley says Statia in the house. Golden Rock Statia. I wonder if people know that Sint Eustatius is also called Statia. That's a Dutch island. We don't hear much talk about that. Those islands, Saint Eustatius, and there's another one. Well, the Dutch is Bonaire and those islands, but Saint Eustatius, and there's another one up the island chain as well. I can't remember. So those of you from there, you can let me know that's the name of another island. There's Saint Eustatius and another one. I can't remember. It's a very small island, very very small, much smaller than I think Saint Eustatius. There's another island there close by. Saber. That's it. That's right. That's right. Empress says Saber. Absolutely. I know there were two of them up there, somewhere there. between there. I couldn't remember the other one. So Miss Arima says, good evening from Trinidad. She's in the class as always. Good to have you. Um, Rachel Henry, good evening. Viewing from Montreal, Canada. How is Canada this evening? How is Montreal this evening? What are the temperatures like in Montreal this evening? Reply 30 says, good night from Trinidad and Tobago. We have Bertland Carter from, I believe it's St. Kitts. Yeah, it says SKB. I guess it's St. Kitts there. Who else is in the class? Try to mark their register as early as possible. Otto 718. Top of the evening to you. Adrian Maxwell. Adrian Maxwell is here. Says bless up you guys. Anan0000. Yeah. Says good evening to all. People just pouring into the classroom. Remember to share the live. Share it with your friends. Share it on Facebook. Share it on Twitter. Share it wherever you want to. That's your thing. Do whatever you feel like as we continue marking the register. It's important to mark the register so that we can know who's in class, who came early, who's coming in midway. If people are late, we need to know what's happening and see how the numbers are racking up even after evening, because if they're not going anywhere, it makes not much sense we continue once people are not coming to class. If people are not going to school, eventually a government will close down a school if nobody's going there. It makes no sense. So Candice is in the house. Said good evening. And she's sharing good evening to everyone on the live. Ricardo is in the house. Top of the evening to you. Remember to hit the like button, the share, the subscribe. Your friends subscribe to the community. Monica Williams is in the house. Let's see who else is in the house. Katie 1094 is in the house from Jamaica. Which part of Jamaica are you from? Kingston, St. Catherine. Let's know where you're from in Jamaica. Other Jamaicans seem to be in the house here though. Um, J Royal says good evening. Yep, J Royal says good evening. Rachel Henry is saying it's 2 degrees. I believe that is I believe 2 degrees is Canada. Yes, Montreal, actually. Montreal. Slimmer says that they much prefer the evening classes. Yeah. Well, I guess it's a Caribbean thing. People go to work in the day, who don't go to work. Everybody try to make a living in the day somehow. And by the evening they're home. And so I think that would be the best time. Yeah. The best time for you guys to come on into the classroom and tell me what's happening. So report to me now that you're here. Report to me what's happening in your island. Let me know what's happening in your island. Anything new happening in your island? Drop the report in the comment section. Let me know what's happening in your island as we continue to mark the register here before we get into the class. Um, Katie says St. Anne Ochorius. So Ochorius, Jamaica. Absolutely in the house. Slimmer says she is from St. Catherine, Jamaica, and also retired. Wow. Yeah, well, let me know what's happening in your neck of the woods. Anything new happening in Jamaica? I understand that they got about $1.5 billion worth of cocaine. They picked that up at sea. 1.3 or 1.5 billion worth of cocaine. I saw they had the boat. I saw they had the cocaine on display as well. The police. So seemed like that's a big haul that they made in Jamaica recently. Adrian Maxwell says they're pushing the 15-minute city with all this gas and oil shortage. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you something. The issue of the 15-minute city around the world, they're pushing that right now. I mean, they're pushing it. They're really pushing that 15-minute city business around the world. So that's something that you have to pay a lot of attention to. They're really, really pushing that right now. That's a big thing for them. Very, very big thing to them for them. Um, Otto718 says, we had a bad accident with Air Canada at LaGuardia. I'm here in New York. So Otto718 is in New York and he's reporting the accident with Air Canada at LaGuardia Airport. That was a horrible accident. I don't know who's wrong up to now. I've been seeing conflicting reports. I'm not sure what the latest on it, but I understand that the pilot and the co-pilot died as well. Terrible, terrible accident there at LaGuardia Airport. Um, Also, nothing new. The government is quiet, not talking about the war and how it might affect us. That's coming out of Jamaica. Well, listen to me. Most of the Caribbean governments are not talking about the war. They're not saying anything. They're not even telling you if gas prices will go up or come down. They're not saying anything. I mean, it's my favorite line for them is just that they are tongue managers, governors, mayors. They're not really prime ministers, not presidents. They're just managing plantations for people and managing decline in the region too. That's what they're doing really. They don't care whether gas prices go up or down. Once you keep them in office and they could run around the place, make a flight every now and then, eat caviar, drink champagne, they're fine. You don't care about people. Let's go to okay. Says I actually found out about the cocaine. Oh, you found out about the cocaine from me. Oh, okay, all right. So you didn't know that. All right, that's crazy. Slimmy says they are going to use the SOEs also to push digital ID, etc. in Trinidad. Yeah, that I heard that is a big thing happening in Trinidad. I heard that's a big, big thing going on in Trinidad right now. Somebody says Monica Williams said it was sad. I think she's talking about the plane, that accident at LaGuardia. Do you know where did you know is in the house? Government is silent, but it's the newspaper putting out info about the issue going on in Iran. Government looking to see which side they want to take, meaning which superpower they want to link with. Yeah, that's how they do it. And that's in Jamaica. Yeah. Do you know word did you know? That's a long one. That's in Jamaica and that person's in Jamaica. I will continue to see what's happening in your country. Slim says, well, the gas prices are up. All right. Empress says the Caribbean government not saying much. Only Anguilla saw something about freight prices increase. Yeah, they placed that out very early. They placed that very early to tell you that those freight prices are going to go up and that you should get prepared because you just don't know what is going to take place. Just get prepared. Adrian Maxwell says, I understand the SVG, the opposition leader, is more vocal than the new government. Well, yeah, he's more vocal in the terms of telling people, well, gas prices would shoot up. What's happening with Iran? How unfair the Americans are to be doing this. Well, he actually spoke to the U.S. officials who came to St. Vincent, telling them that what they did in St. Vincent waters was really horrible and just not acceptable by any terms. Very vocal on these issues right now. Very vocal on these issues right now. Government says that they're monitoring the situation to see what is happening. There's not really a plan per se they have put out or anything. Just say that they're monitoring the situation over there. Well, gas prices gone up. Public taxi will be their fare will be increasing soon. That's what Katie's saying there. Wilma Pat now in the house. She says, good evening to everyone. Daniel Lopez says, watching from Belize. Love your program. Very informative. Belize is in the house. Good to have Belize in the house. Which side of Belize are you from? Belmopan. What's the time in Belize though? I think they're some hours behind us. They're more over there where in the central mountain time zone. What's the time in Belize? Daniel Lopez. He is in Belize and watching us. Look, I want to start with the that was just the introduction to the class really, and you guys are very, very active, being present and discussing what is happening in your country as well. And that's good to know what's happening there. But let's begin with what is taking place over here. And Yvette Phillip just dropped in the class from Trinidad. Janelle Burke just dropped in the class as well. And Katie says the government says the minimum wage will move from $1,600 or $16,000 to 17,000 as of June. Lady J said she's late for class. Well, we really haven't started. We're just marking the register still. Janelle Burke from Barbados. Miss T13 St. Lucia in the house. And Daniel says that it's 4:47 p.m., of course, and he's in the Toledo district. Absolutely good to have you from Belize. Let me see if I can find this guy. This young man here, his name is Warren Lee Davis. Warren Lee Davies or Davis, however you want to pronounce it. He's actually a British national caught in St. Vincent with 2.5 kilograms of cocaine. And he's basically gonna face some time in jail, more than likely, if his lawyer is able to get him off, maybe pay the money, get out, deported. I don't know what would be the cost, but his case has been put off until Thursday. But he's a British national. They caught him at the airport while he was leaving on last Wednesday, heading for a Virgin Atlantic flight. Looked a bit, sketchy there, and the police just decided we're gonna have a check. 2.5 kilograms of cocaine. But what's strange about this story is that I found this story very interesting because when you have a drug bust in St. Vincent, or police go and do something, for instance, like if they book upon probably the policeman, not the policeman, but what I'm saying there, if they meet like anybody with some weed, maybe cocaine as well too, whatever drug, they would show pictures, show the person's face and everything like that. But what's strange about this is that they were very fast to show the drugs and the gentleman's face. But we had a drug bust here of $500 million reported, according to the police, from a drone strike that was done by the US in this country. And up to today, we haven't seen pictures. We don't know who gave them that script to read. I don't know. We haven't seen pictures. We haven't heard anything really. So we really don't know. But it's just that they were very fast to bring this one. And up to now, we can't really get anything on this 500 million. This is like a mystery because we haven't seen the pictures up to now. Um, Jillian is on the live with us, but you have muted yourself. That's what it's saying here. It says that you have muted yourself. So you have to unmute your microphone if you wish to speak to us. Okay? You have to unmute your microphone. We'll keep you on hold until you unmute your microphone. That's what it's telling us back here. It's saying that you have muted yourself. So when you're ready, you can come on in. So this gentleman here actually caught at the airport, was heading to the UK, and somehow or the other, the police found very suspicious, and they said that they were going to search him and found the drugs. Like I said, they were very quick to report this, very fast to show pictures and everything. Up to now, we have not seen the 500 million worth of cocaine that they said that they hauled after the drone strike. We don't know. We only know two persons were arrested, and from two persons, they got 22 pounds of cocaine. Of course, the 22 pounds of cocaine will not be worth anywhere near 500 million. To reach 500 million evaluation by international standards, such as those used by the US Coast Guard authorities, they would need to seize about probably 45,000 to 61,000 pounds of cocaine. I'm talking about the police here to get to that figure. At the current market rates, the 22.9 pounds actually recovered is worth roughly about 180,000 US dollars. And that would suggest somehow or the other that the government's figure is a massive exaggeration of nearly 2,700 times the international rate. So I don't know where they got that from. But see, let's just say we haven't seen anything from them as yet. So we don't know what's going on. But this gentleman was caught. I just wanted to talk about that a little bit to show the kind of differences you have between things going on here. It's a bit kind of, I don't want to use the word that, but I'll leave it alone just to say that this is just at the public, you kind of wanted to see what you call clarity on the issue when it comes to the $500 million drug bust. I think you needed some clarity on that. Up to now, we really don't know. But we leave that alone for now, and we'll see whatever happens to this guy. Um, I guess by now his family would have known that he was arrested in St. Vincent. Looks pretty young. They didn't put an age, but it looks pretty young from the photo that they have here. I understand also that somebody was caught with drugs at an airport in Jamaica as well. So it appears a lot of cocaine is floating around in the region. I don't know if it's from all these. boat strikes that Trump and his regime did across the region. But we wait to see what takes place from that. Let's go back in the chat section, see what you guys are saying there and reporting for me. All right. Angela is in the house from Jamaica and she's saying good night. Ian is saying we pay too much money just to exist. Somebody is also saying that Australia said they have 10 days of oil left. How much do we have? Well, we won't know how much we have in the region until we run out because that's how the governments operate. They don't say anything, everything is a hide and seek until it's totally gone. And then, they will come and tell you, well, we don't have, and some of them don't even tell you, they'll just hide it away from you. That's how they do it in the Caribbean. Everything is a state secret in the Caribbean. We have Rufina Wells. I hope I'm pronouncing that properly. Rufina Wells from St. Lucia in the house. Patty 9868, another Trini in the class says, present please. Otto 70718. Somebody probably called the police or the police probably set him up. Well, you never know. Goody Girl says a white boy, just like in the US, only they have planes, boats, money to hire people. They cut bag mules runners to take it into the US. All right. Joel Gaskin, good evening from Barbados. Joel Gaskin from Barbados. Monica Williams is replying to somebody there. Let's see who else came in late. Gerard Prince came in late to the class as well. Sybil says it all depends on the demographic of the perpetrator and who they know are associated with. We have Cleveland Roberts war. USA Iran's another blow signal in the global recession. People just don't realize yet. They're waiting on CNN. Shaking my head, he says. Then we have Lee Jones. I've been to a certain store in Jamaica yesterday, and honestly, it's the first I'm seeing so much gas containers selling in that store. It leaves me to wonder. Well, wonder no more. Gas prices are definitely up. Gasoline, fuel, whatever you want to call it, will get scarce. Listen. The problem is that it has not hit us in the Caribbean as yet. The problem with the Caribbean is that there's a delay for us. There's like a 1-2 month delay. So this month you're not gonna really feel anything. You may see some things missing on store shelves, but the real effects will come from April going onwards. We have like a 1-2 month delay in the region because of how we do business. So you won't feel anything this month. This month is like it's just normal, nothing is happening to you. But people in the US, people in Canada, people in Europe, people in Australia, they are already feeling the effects. Bigger population, they import more quickly. So you know what's happening there. All right. And then Lee Jones said it's a very popular store too. Yeah, people just buying up these things. They're buying up them and storing just in case to store up gas just in case. Caroline Gums is in the house saying good afternoon to everybody and thanks for the information as we continue. Well, let's get to this one and see what's popping. Some countries are already out of fuel. For instance, this one says fuel supply heads for cliff at the end of April as petrol prices in Australia hit records high. So they're saying that petrol prices have reached a record high in Australia. The Australia's fuel supplies head for a cliff at the end of April when the Asian refineries that deliver 80% of Australia's supply exhaust their inventories due to the war in Iran. So you're seeing this right here. The fuel supply in Australia will basically head for a cliff. And when they say head for a cliff, it means it's just going out. That's it. That's it. When you reach a cliff and you're going, what else do you see? It's downward. That's it. So basically, they're saying that will happen at the end of April because they buy their fuel from Asia, from Asian refineries. They deliver about 80% of their fuel, and basically, the inventories will be exhausted by that time. So you're not hearing this in the region. You're not hearing anything in the region from the governments. The news broadcasts in the regions just talking about garbage every day. They don't really tell you anything much about how, what to do, how to prepare, what is the next step you should take, what they think you should buy, put away. Nothing. Everybody's just on FET and party time still in the region. The government and Australian fuel importers said that they are scrambling to lock in shipments of replacement fuel, and they are in talks with nations across Asia and Europe, as well as the US. The negotiations have become even more urgent after China, which supplies about 4% of the nation's diesel, paused exports until the end of March. So you see what's happening here? Everybody's hurting the thing for themselves because they don't know how long this thing is going to go and how badly they're going to be affected. So every country that has, they're hurting their fuel right now. They're hurting their fuel right now. And that's the problem. Everything will go up very soon, says Monica. Sybil says the closure of the Strait of Hormuz has disrupted roughly one third of global trade fertilizer, driving up prices and threatening crop production worldwide. That's another topic we have to talk about, that fertilizer issue. That's something else we have to talk about. Adrian says, Cousin and Beckwith tell me gas tanker haven't come for the month of March as yet. I saw one it's in Vince, usually two. One comes for Rubis, one comes for Sal. The both of them have been around. I haven't seen them this week, but last week they were here. And also, Ian says the way we live as human race is easy to destabilize all the economies. Actually, you're correct about that. The initial ocean freight impact takes 10 to 14 days to appear. The real pressure, port congestion, container shortage, you know, um, typically hits within 2 to 5 weeks. What are the initials of the store? I need Jericho. Or somebody's asking about the store in Jamaica. So answer up, answer up. Yeah, green energy really was a scam. Well, the green energy is really about the solar, the wind, and all of that kind of stuff. It's not really a scam per se. It's just that the way people go about doing it, they've been using it to make money in a kind of a way. So you could say it's a scam if you want to. The people who've been really championing it, it's money they've really been making. But really and truly, it's good to use the solar and all that stuff. We're living in the region where we don't have to worry too much about anything. We could use solar, get a solar bank, get some solar once you can afford it, solar panels, and store some energy just in case. Carbonists are basically buying time by staying tightly. They like the tight lip on everything. They just to their own detriment and everything. I don't even bother with them anymore. Someone says most forced fertilizer factory closed, no natural gas available for them on demand. The international agency recommend you should working from home. Yeah, where possible. Listen, fertilizer is becoming a big problem. All of the farmers in the Midwest are already crying about fertilizer. It's crazy what's going on with fertilizer right now, and it's something that we need to talk about because there's going to be a boom in terms of the price. The price is going to surge because when things are scarce, what happens? But I'm telling you, everybody's cutting back. Even Russia have cut up some of the nitrogen fertilizer exports. And we get a lot of fertilizer out of Europe. So that's a problem right now. So there is a problem with fertilizer. So you have to start thinking about that. A lot of farmers are talking about foreclosures in the US because of fertilizer. So that's something that you have to pay attention to. Yes, they are spraying our skies to block off the sun. This will affect solar energy devices. You can still get your sunlight. You can still get your sunlight. It's not as big as they do it in those countries over there. Just heard in the news that Caribbean countries that depend on tourism, they will try so that the war doesn't affect the sector going forward. We should have a steady flow of tourists visiting. How are they going to do that? How are they going to do that? I haven't seen any plan for that. I've been looking for that all over the place. How are they going to do that? Jet fuel is going up, and all of the companies, including American, that comes to the region, JetBlue, United, Delta, all of them are talking about raising the fares. They're talking about cutting back on some routes. Some places they have to abandon travel for a while. So how are they going to deal with the tourism? How are they going to do that? Drop the fares to $50 in the region so we could all travel around, because that's the only thing they can do to deal with that. A plane ticket from St. Vincent to to Barbados is the same from St. Vincent to New York. Same with St. Lucia to Barbados, and you pay the same fare like you're going to New York. So I don't know what these people are talking about. It's a bunch of managers. I'll listen. I'll try to see what they're talking about. Jasmine Clark is from the diaspora. She says big up to all, of course. Let's see who else is here. Black Rose says she just got home late for the class. Well, you can rewind, you know how it is. Just got started. Yeah, somebody's talking about the World Economic Forum here. Yeah, they have a lot of things on their agenda, you know. But it's back to basics for a lot of us just now. Back to basics. So this is the issue over there in Australia. All right. I'm just letting you know what's happening over there in Australia. Because people are behaving like if we live in a vacuum over here, nothing is going to happen. Let's continue. Slovakia becomes the first EU country to introduce fuel rationing. So you see, we live in Australia where they're saying they're going to be low on supplies at April. Then we're looking at Slovakia. This was published today. Uh, Slovakia becomes the first EU country to introduce fuel rationing. So they have begun to ration fuel up there. They said Slovenia, sorry, not Slovakia, Slovenia has become the first EU member state to implement fuel rationing to tackle disruptions caused by the war. Many countries have been experiencing steep hikes in fuel prices. In Slovenia, this has resulted in so called fuel tourism as drivers from neighboring countries, particularly Austria, take advantage of the lower regulated price in Slovenia. So you see what's happening there? People are coming across from Austria to get the gas in Slovenia. They call it fuel tourism. That's what they're calling it. Under the new measure, private motorists in Slovenia will be restricted to a maximum purchase of 50 liters of fuel per day. Businesses and farmers have a more generous allowance of 200 liters. And this is taking you back to one COVID time. You know, remember when COVID, what they used to do? Limit this, limit that, limit this. You see what's happening here? But they're saying under the new measures, your private motorists you will be restricted to a maximum purchase of 50 liters of fuel per day. And they're also saying that some fuel retailers had already imposed measures on their own. Hungary's MOL, which operates petrol stations across the region, had already imposed a 30-liter limit. So you have 50 liters per day if you're a private car driver, and 200 if you're a business owner. And some people have already started their own imposing the limit on the fuel. So it's happening. It's happening. So it's a matter of time before it comes our way. Uh, Ricardo says, don't wait for crisis, which is going to come, to start burning charcoal. A charcoal is very, very, very important. People must check it out. I don't know how many of you back in the day used to burn charcoal with your grandparents or anything, but charcoal, it's good. You need to get to know how to deal with these kind of things. You understand what I'm saying to you? Get to know. Sammy says locked in. So they made their war to increase fuel prices so that we cannot travel, pushing us to work online, and then they will shut down the internet. I'm telling you, a lot of plans in the making. What time does the lesson start? 6:30. We aim for 6:30 p.m. on the evenings, Jasmine. Um, we have Cola Sanford says present, please, in the house from St. Lucia. I question this idea of digital society and a cashless society. I think they will use this present crisis to implement this full steam ahead. All of that, all of that, all of that, all of that. And guys, if you want to come in and make your points, I'm not stopping you guys, you know. If you want to come in and make your points, there is a link in the chat section. Just click it and I'll bring you backstage and you'll be online and everybody will hear what you have to say because I'll not be able to read all of the comments, of course, in the chat section. So if you want to come online and have your say, just click on the link in the chat section. It's pinned at the top of the chat section. I place it there every day so that you guys could actually come in and share your opinions because I don't read all the opinions. You want to talk, you want to share your views. That's what the link is there for. I don't read all of the comments. Okay, so if you don't hear yours, don't be angry. I don't read all of the comments because the link is there so that you can join me and talk as well in the classroom. Here you can share your opinions if you want to. All right, so the scam is telling people the energy grid could be green, proven lies, oil is the king. Limitations. Somebody says control. And says, okay, people who sell coals will raise their prices too. As a matter of fact, coal prices in some of these islands already gone up, kerosene, everything already gone up. All right, so let's continue. Let's continue what's happening in Slovenia. Like I said, the link is there at the top of the chat section. If you need to come in, you need to make a point, you want to talk to me, just click on the link and come in because, like I said, I will not be able to read all of the comments in the chat section. All right. So this is we've looked at Australia and we've also looked at Slovenia with this fuel problem bunking up. Let's continue see what else is happening across the world. Romania government to cap fuel markup limit exports for 6 months. You see what's happening there now? We're moving on. This is Europe already. Romania's broad coalition government said Monday it will approve an emergency decree to cap the fuel markup prices and limit exports for 6 months to mitigate the economic fallout of the war in Iran. So people are looking to herd whatever they have. They want to keep it because they just don't know what's going to be taking place, and they have a right to. They don't know what's going to be taking place, and so it's up to you and you to do your little preparation. I know somebody here who've already, well, a couple people in the region who told me that they bought two gas bottles, two extra gas bottles, and put them up just in case. So they have two that they're currently using. One burning and the other one is there just in case that one is done. But they've gone ahead and bought two extra bottles just in case these things go scarce. They'll have extra two in the house, and they'll all get the other two refilled. So some people are making preparations just in case. But guys, I'd love to hear what some of you are making. Any preparations at all? Click on the link, come on in and talk to me. I want to hear what some of the preparations that you all are making as well. I'd like to hear from you. Okay? Let's get down here. It says the government will approve an emergency decree on Tuesday, that's next week, to declare crisis situation on the fuel market. It said in a statement, adding that the measures could be extended by 3 months at a time. So people are trying to do what they have to do to hoard as much fuel in their country because you just don't know when this whole thing will end. And fuel is becoming a problem right now. So that's where the problem is. So that's in Romania. So we look at Australia, we looked at Slovenia. Now we're into Romania. So things are happening across the globe. Like I said, you will not feel it here in the region until next month. We'll start to feel that pressure from next month in the region. Miss Arima in Trinidad says we burn wood here in Trinidad. Otto 718 says how they're going to enforce that rationing program. You will soon find out. Wilma Pat says my dad used to burn charcoal. Monica says back to our coal pots. Yes. Empress says yes, coal pot. Nothing is wrong with coal pot. Nothing is wrong with coal pot. As a matter of fact, those drum oven that you used to have when you were much younger, those of you from the Caribbean didn't grow up in North America. Back in the day when you had the drum oven in the Caribbean, a lot of people had drum oven outside. You have coals or wood underneath there. And I tell you, used to bake some of the best bread and the best cake. People tell you that. The taste wicked, just really wicked. So the coals, some people used to call it fire pan top. The coals, you have the drum oven, and you bake your bread and your cake. Really, really tasting, really, really good. I'm sure there's some people here who can testify to that. I'm sure other people here can testify to that. So yes, back to the coal pot. Barbada's hand of over the offshore oil rights over the scam. Okay. Oh wow. Wow. Reporting for duty. Blessings to everyone from Trinidad and Tobago. Yes. Okay. And then Tree Stone Cooking, the best food. Yeah, they used to do that back in the day as well by the riverside, all over the place. Truth be told, what also came with development and this new normal they want to create is that this is going around the world. It's crazy how we've lost that love and feeling. Somebody else says, Dr. Samuel says, remember, they will not make a crisis go to waste. Absolutely. Somebody says, instead of moving forward, we will be going like 80 years behind. What to think? Somebody also says here that biotech will be larger threat to what it means to be human. Um, some islands in the Caribbean still sell kerosene. Just asking. Yes, kerosene is still sell in a lot of the islands in the region. Kerosene is still being sold at gas stations across the region. A lot of them do sell. Maybe some of them have stopped, but a lot of the islands you still get kerosene to buy at the gas stations as well. Yeah, you do. You do. You do. You do. Somebody said they did the same. They got two gas bottles. Um, Also, somebody's asking if shortage of medication will be shortage of medication. They're saying will be the hardest hit. Yep, of course. And then they're also talking about is there a particular topic we can call on to speak about, or are we allowed the freedom to speak about current issues? You're allowed to speak about current issues that are affecting you in your country or anything that you see that you wish to share with us. You're allowed to do that as well. We don't hold anybody here and tell them what to speak, but we don't allow any infighting in this classroom. Absolutely not. Nobody will be here fighting with each other. You can make your points, you can agree to disagree, but nobody will be going back and forth. And I will not entertain the back and forth in any call where people are cursing one another. Not happening in this classroom here. Maybe somewhere else, but not here. But yes, there's no specific topic. You can call in. You can hit the that link in the comment section. Come backstage. I'll bring you forward. You can talk on whatever's affecting you in your country. If you see something out there in which you wish to share with someone, you can do that. All right. Our child says, learn how to corn your meat. That's really back in the day. Really back in the day. Coal pot and wood fire cook better than gas food, more sweet. That's what old people said. And I tasted it when I was younger. It's really good. Matter of fact, I told you about the drum oven where they used to have the coals on top. Nothing beat the cake or the bread that was baked in that oven. So people can say all they want, you know. Them things, trust me, really, really good. Some people still use firewood and coal pot. Somebody said that. Somebody says, I am buying tin stuff, rice, flour, batteries, kerosene, an extra pan of gas, and a coal stove. I'm still going to get additional stuff too. Yep, you're doing the right thing. Let's see what's happening here. Yes, some elderly people still cook with kerosene oil. Carib View saying that on the news tonight, TNT distances itself from calling from end to Cuba embargo. Also, no commitment by TNT government on contributing to CARICOM aid to Cuba. Yeah, you know, that government is just really a waste of time. I don't even want to talk about them. Everything America do, they just like a puppet regime down there in Trinidad. So I don't have time to comment on them. Um, Bake our cakes and bread with our box ovens. Somebody says back to flambeau days. And somebody saying yes, the food that cook on coal pot and tree stone really tastes nice. So people know, people understand these things. That's what it is. Let's continue what's happening. So we've come out of Romania. Let's go now to Portugal. They're saying that Portugal is edging closer to declaring energy crisis as gas prices surge. So everywhere, we're just not getting enough information in the region. They're saying Portugal is very close to meeting the European criteria for declaring an energy crisis due to the rising gas and fuel prices. Like I said before, these countries in the outer world, as people say in the region here, in Europe, North America, Canada, these countries are going to feel it first before us here in the Caribbean. They're going to. They're going to. All right. We are getting close to the criteria for declaring an energy crisis. That's what they're saying, stressing that if confirmed, the scenario would allow for implementation of measures that are being analyzed and quantified as to how we can protect families and also companies. Since the energy transition and Russia's invasion of Ukraine, the EU has been overhauling its energy market regulations as the bloc has weaned itself off Russian gas. So you see, everybody's having some problems with the gasoline. And that's why I keep saying to you, the fuel is going to become a problem. And you have to take all the measures that you can take early. A lot of people are already talking about going back to the coal pot. Nothing is wrong with coal pot. You need to train your children these days to use coal pot and how to catch firewood. Some of them grew up in an era where they would run to KFC, run to McDonald's, run to a Subway. Some of them can't even hot water and cook some. Even people used to say they can't even turn ice over hot water. It's just crazy. But you have to start training them for some hard times coming up. And then food rationing, panic buying, planes grounded, an economic hammer blow for far worse than COVID, and an economist explain a nightmare scenario that could be just weeks away due to Iran war. I think we're going to see another COVID like business happening sometime soon if this war doesn't end. Yeah, fears are mounting that the world is headed for an economic blow far worse than the pandemic within weeks as the Iran conflict threatens global oil and gas supply. So it looks like we're heading back down that road again. Exports warn it could trigger food shortages, like in some places, they're already seeing less and less goods coming in. Grounded flights, airlines, I told you about United, America, and a whole lot of big airlines saying that they're going to cancel some routes because of what is happening with jet fuel. Panic buying, people already started to buy. Some people call this panic buying. I don't think this is panic buying. This is what called preparation. You want to be like the five wise virgins, not the foolish one. And countries risk this running out of fuel and energy if the key shipping routes remain shut. And one of the analysts said that the crisis is no longer will deal with rising prices, but the risk of a full-blown supply crunch, with some countries unable to secure enough energy to meet demand. That could trigger a domino effect across the global economy, hitting everything from air travel to food production. Of course, the Straits of Hormuz, which is the vital artery, remains at the center of the crisis, and that is a problem. Bank of America, I saw, they have warned European gas prices could surge from around 29 pounds, 29 euros actually, to as high as 500 euros this winter if the strait stays shut for an extended period, far exceeding levels seen after the Russia's invasion of Ukraine. I hear people in Europe already talking about the same coal pot and coals. Yeah, don't get it twisted. You're talking about moving from gas prices from 29 euro to 500 euro. That's crazy. And they're saying such a spike would trigger what analysts describe as a full blown economic emergency across Europe, the UK, and a larger part of Asia, with energy costs spiraling and industries forced to cut back. These are things that are being discussed and what could happen out here. Of course, we're not hearing these types of discussion in the region and how you could prepare yourself for any kind of scenario. People do these things across the world. They call it modeling. They do this thing and they see how what could happen here if this goes, that could happen there. If that we're not getting that kind of thing in the region. Nobody's coming forward and informing the public about certain vital information. It's really, really bad. All right. So let's go. Gail says, buy a pack of cheap lighters and a few tins of, um, oh, for the refill. Right. Someone else says, the, someone says here, supplements. We need to get supplements like vitamins to reduce malnutrition. Someone else says, stock up on herbs. Learn how to use herbs to heal thyself. Someone else is saying here, plant a bunch of ganja because man is going to be stressing. Someone else says, use lots of bush teas, they are medicines. Someone else says, let that sink in. Someone talk about train the young ones. Someone here saying, warning come from Donald Trump and they remove him when he speak up against it, make he look like a bad guy. Okay, I don't understand what that is all about. Well, for those who use it, there are different herbs beside that one. I guess they're talking about some special thing here. Someone talk about drinking it for tea as always. Let's see what else is happening here. Somebody says Iran is punishing the world. This war will not end now. Someone else says that pandemic, gene editing, biowarfare, X-Men 20th century with nuclear 21st century, biotech. Iran will bring the world to its knees. Arthur says they only have 48 hours. Someone says that moringa, very good where malnutrition is concerned. Someone else says, my people buy your stuff whole, better prices to make the dollar stress. Someone else says, we have more serious problem than gasoline or healthcare in the Caribbean. It's a problem and that is more important than any war. Well, we've destroyed all that we could have done with healthcare. We're getting rid of all the people who can help us with the healthcare situation, the Cuban doctors, the managers, the town councillors, the governors you have running these countries are throwing them out for their visa. So we put ourselves in distress there. I'm not even going to fight with that right now. It looks like they're telling us we're on our own. Someone says the world can look out for energy climate pandemic by 2026 by June. Someone said I'm packing a blue barrel like I'm sending it to someone. Oh my, yeah. So here we are with this issue, like I said, in the scenarios that they are modeling around the world to see what could happen in the next couple of weeks if this war doesn't come to an end. They're saying that they were talking about the whole issue of the Straits of Hormuz and all of that. And then we went on to talk about oil markets, right? And then they're saying that the situation has deteriorated rapidly after strikes in major energy infrastructure in Iran and Qatar, including facilities responsible for a huge share of global gas supplies, with distribution or disruption expected to last months or even years as repairs are carried out. They're also saying oil markets are already showing signs of panic, with supplies far tighter than official prices suggest as countries race to secure the fuel. They're also saying here, Kurt Barrow, who's the vice president at oil at S&P Global Energy, warned that the world could soon face outright shortages and rationing if disruption continues. He said if the strait stays closed for 2 months, you'll have plants without feedstock and will get real rationing. We'll have panic buying and hoarding. According to the analysts, millions of barrels a day have already been knocked out of the market due to damaged infrastructure and transport disruption, raising the risk that supply chains could cease entirely if the conflict drags on. Jeff Corey, who was an emergency expert at the Carlyle Group, warned that the knock on effects could be severe and immediate, hinting everything from travel to food production. He says we may need to ground the planes, shut the chemical plants, and accept lower crop yields. This is not a joke. That is what it is. Someone says that let's see, lemongrass, guava leaves, soursop, cinnamon, good for immune. Not forgetting moringa, lawn enforcement is a must. America is in the business of petrodollar. If they stop using US dollar for petrol, the US dollar would be worth less. Caribbean people know how to survive without gasoline. Do not. I'm sorry. Okay. Learning how to filter water is a must. Let's see. Only poor man feel it every time. Trinidad has too much food we can give away. Wow. All right. Sacks of white rice, white blah blah blah. Other things we're talking about there. The demand is the cause of all the punishment. All right. So this is what is happening. I've just given you a whole scenario of a lot of things that can take place in the coming weeks if the war in Iran drags on. We are not hearing much from, like I said, all people in the region. So it's difficult. It's difficult. Let me see what else is new. What else is happening here? What else is happening here? They're saying here that no, no. They're saying that Trump will deploy 1,000 troops from the 82nd Airborne to the Mideast. That's reported from the Associated Press, that he's expected to deploy 1,000 troops. Iran says we welcome all the troops. They will end up in the meat grinder. Trump says Iran regime change has happened. The leaders are all very different from the ones we started with. This is regime change, he says. Meta ordered to pay 375 million. I heard about that. Iraq hotel rocked by drone strike, massive blast. Netanyahu is concerned the Trump deal with Iran could fall well short of Israel's objectives. He wants Trump to continue the war. I mean, this is just absolutely crazy that is happening over there in that place. But anyway, so I am telling you what is going on. I just gave you scenarios of what could take place across the region. He said also, here's what Jeff said. Jeff said, oil and gas underpin a large part of the global economy, meaning shortages would not just push up prices, but could quickly disrupt transport networks, manufacturing, and agriculture. He says actual barrels of the Dubai basket and Oman's Morban are fetching close to 170 a barrel as Asian refineries scramble to buy anything they can. Jet fuel deliveries have hit $210 in Rotterdam and 240 in Singapore. So everything is basically skyrocketing at this time. Someone says that merchant Robert Barnes turned central bankers. I feel like okay. Someone says start planting banana and planting trees. Anyone notice the food and vegetable in the supermarket do not last for 3 days outside of the fridge? Yeah, that's a lot of chemicals, a lot of rubbish that they're putting in those things. That's why they're not lasting any time at all. All right, so the lines are now open. Lines are now open. Click on the link in the chat section. Come on in, have your say, because we're going to shut up shop in the next couple of minutes. We're going to close down. I can always see the guys are telling me it's time to shut the shop down because you can see the stream start to fluctuate a bit here on this end. It's sticking a bit, so we're going to close up shop in a bit. So if you want to make your comments, if you want, you can come in now. Make your comments now. Click on the link in the chat section. Let me bring you in, give permission to your microphone and other things. Come on in and let me hear what you have to say from your neck of the woods. Let's take a call. Let's take a call and say good night, caller. Go right ahead. Hello? Yeah, we're hearing you. Go ahead.
Hello, good night,
Yeah,
Mr. Cook, Teacher Cook.
Yes, go right.
I'm listening to you.
Go right ahead. Go right ahead. We're hearing you loud and clear. You have to turn. You have to turn down. You have to turn down.
I'm listening to you all the time.
And
you seem to be worrying for the citizens in the Caribbean. Any feedback?
Okay, I think the feedback has gone now. Go ahead.
Right. Don't worry. Be happy. Trinidadian and people from the Caribbean know how to light wood fire. Mm-hmm. The older ones, the elderly, will teach the younger ones. People still use wood in these countries.
Beautiful.
I know for sure in Grenada, Trinidad, Barbados maybe, but I know Trinidadians could cook with wood. And all over in the mountain, it have all kind of dry tree falling down.
Okay.
All kind of pieces of wood people will gather.
All right.
Trinidad full of spring. We wouldn't suffer for water as well.
Okay.
And Trinidad have an abundance of food.
All right.
Sometimes when I'm in Port of Spain and I go on the ports and I see how the boats from St. Vincent would come and load up the boats with goods, I say, well, like they carry now with Trinidad. Boats from Guyana will come. You understand? These cargo boats and they will load up. Boats from Grenada every week and they load up and they go with stuff. Every corner you turn in Trinidad, somebody selling food.
Wow.
Right? A lot of groceries. We don't suffer for things here. Gas truck. In the gas, cooking gas.
Yes.
In areas where it's highly populated, they pass almost every day. They blow in gas truck full of gas. You go by gas stations. You're getting gas shops. People don't have to fish for anything like that here.
Okay.
So when the thing get hot, it will take a long while. before it hit Trinidad that hard the way you're talking. I know for sure.
Okay.
And Trinidadians are people who share. But the government, this government that we have here, will dog eat people's supper. But it have cooperative citizens that would help. Right? If we have to ship things to smaller islands, you know we do all of that. Whenever it have any hurricane, anything, the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, we put things together. Certain people organize, and we would send vessels with whatever we could send, and the other islands do the same.
Okay.
And as I say, we Caribbean citizens, we know how to live. Somebody said that already, and it's true. We could hold on. If we have to suck salt, we will suck salt and be contented.
Roger that.
So good evening.
Okay, thanks a lot for calling. Appreciate it. All right, so that's a caller from Trinidad, Miss Arima in the house, giving her points as always. It's always good to hear from her. I think the rest of you need to be like her. You need to get on the system. Click on the link, call in, talk, let everybody hear your points of view. I don't read all of the comments, and you have sometime, I believe, when I go back and I read, you see you have very good comments there, but I will not be able to read all of them. So some people call, and that's what you need to do. Interaction is the name of the game. But that's how it is. Classes is definitely off for today, and we're definitely gonna exit the classroom for today. Once tomorrow comes, and we're here, we have life. We definitely could be back up in the classroom again. But class is dismissed for today. I want to thank you all for coming in and sitting into the classroom. I hope that you've learned something and that you can share this with your friends. Tell them to subscribe to the channel as well. Share it around so that people could join our community here. Have a good evening, good morning, good night, wherever you are, whichever part of the world. Take it easy.